Hi, this is Should I Watch It? I'm Jason Cockroft.
And I'm Kirsty Bryan, and today we're going to help you decide if you should watch Alice Through the Looking Glass.
We'll tell you some points about the film so you can decide for yourself, and then we'll give our scores and opinions at the end.
So, what's it about, Jay?
Well, basically, Alice goes back to Wonderland. She goes through a mirror this time. And when she gets there, she discovers that the Mad Hatter is ill, and the only way to save him is to go back in time. And as a result of that, we get to see some of the backstories of some of the characters and things from the first film.
Yeah.
Right, so should I watch it?
So, I think you should watch it if you like the Tim Burton films. I'm not a massive fan of Tim Burton. I wouldn't say that this film was as weird and wacky as his normal films, but I thought it was more normal, so that's why I enjoyed this probably more than the first film, for me.
Yeah, it's not quite as dark as the first film. I preferred the first film, but not due to its darkness, but just in general. But it's not got the same sort of dark Tim Burton sort of thing. In fact, if it hadn't been for the first film, I wouldn't have known it was Tim Burton, really.
Yeah.
It's very different to his normal stuff. It's a lot more colourful. There's a lot more colour in this one, and it's quite nice actually.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Like visually, it is stunning. I thought it also gave me a really lovely feeling when I left the cinema. I felt so happy. I think it's just like the tone of the film. It's really positive.
Yeah, overall, I think it's quite a feel-good film. So if you like feel-good films, this is definitely one for you.
Yeah, definitely. There was a little bit of humour in it as well, especially around like the tea party, that sort of thing. So that's sort of brought back in this one as well. So you've got like the White Rabbit and some like jokes in there as well. So that's quite nice.
Yeah, I don't think this one has got quite the comedy content of the first one. I think the first one had a bit more comedy in it, but with the darker side. I think this one as well, if you thought maybe that the first one was a little bit too scary for your children, this one isn't really like that. I think this one's really suitable for anybody. So I think if you're thinking of bringing children along to this one, I wouldn't worry about it, because there's not really any particularly dark themes or scary bits or jumpy bits or anything like there was in the first one. On that point, I think you should watch this one if you like the first film. It's got a lot of the same sort of feelings to it. The characters are very similar.
So I would say this film is full of adventure as well. So if you appreciate a good adventure film, a little bit of action, then this is definitely one for you. It is pretty adventurous from start to finish, so it does keep you on the edge of your seat. I thought it was really gripping. I had a massive smile on my face throughout, so it's really nice.
Also, this one maybe if you like a bit of time travel involved. As a result, you get to see some of the history of Wonderland and some of the characters.
They don't make it very confusing either. It's the storyline is still really well set out and it explains it well. Like for me personally, sometimes I get a little bit confused with time travel.
In this one, I thought that the time travel was mainly just to make it sort of like a prequel, because it felt more like a prequel as a film, although it was a sequel. And I think they possibly did that on purpose. They maybe wanted to show some of the history of the character without her not knowing them. So with her going back there again, then going back in time, she got to see some of their history of their character, but she knew who they were, and we didn't have to go through that whole sort of introductory process again.
Yeah. So Jay, ratings, what would you give it?
I'm going to give it a flat 7.0.
Okay. See, I would probably give it a 7.8. I would love to give it higher, but I thought, let's be realistic, but 7.8, pretty good.
Okay, so I give it 7. It was very good. I did enjoy it. It wasn't brilliant. I didn't think it was as good as the first one as well. Yeah, it was good fun. Really worth a watch. But I just didn't think it was anything spectacular.
So now, I thought it was better than the first one. I enjoyed the adventure more this time round, and I enjoyed the story a lot more. I really, really like the fact of how they use the time travel to see the main characters, so like the Mad Hatter especially, and the Red Queen and the White Queen. I thought that was really, really interesting. I just really loved it. I thought the music was spectacular. They used some of the music from the first film, but slightly adapted it to like certain situations throughout the film. I thought it was lovely. So I'll definitely probably be getting the soundtrack because I thought it was gorgeous.
I would say, on to Kirsty's points as well, with the characters, I did enjoy the going back and seeing the history of the characters. I thought that was really well done. I think that's probably one of the best points about the film. And I just thought it was good. And even the little bits of story where Alice is in the real world as well, that was actually a pretty decent story as well. They kind of only just sort of brush over it a little bit, but it's got an interesting enough story to it.
Yeah. I found the adventurous parts where Alice was in the other sort of world was more interesting than when she was sort of in her own life. But it was, as Jason said, it's still good. It sums it up quite nicely.
And the characters in this one are still really strong. Mad Hatter's brilliant, as Johnny Depp played as previously.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was quite as dynamic in this one as he was in the first one.
Yeah.
But he was still a pretty decent character. We obviously missed Alan Rickman's Caterpillar.
Yeah.
He's only kind of briefly in it, isn't he?
He is. He's not in it much,
which
really.
is understandable.
Yeah.
And the Cheshire Cat wasn't really involved in this one either. He was just kind of on screen a couple of times. So that was a bit of a disappointment because I thought the Cheshire Cat's quite a decent character.
Yeah.
It also, to me, it felt a lot less like Alice in Wonderland. It was kind of like, Kiss said, a bit like it was an adventure film and a bit of a strange sort of kooky adventure film. It didn't feel too much like Alice in Wonderland to me. And
it felt more normal, didn't it?
Did feel more normal.
Really felt so much more normal. But then I liked that. I quite liked that. It was still a little bit weird and wacky, but it was so much more normal, so it was slightly easier to watch, I'd say.
Yeah, that's fair. I think as well, though, that for me it kind of took away because I quite liked the imagination in the other films of like all the crazy creatures and all the crazy plants that do weird things and
the weird like landscapes that move and stuff like that.
Yeah, so that was a lot of that was missing this time. There is still some like interesting characters involved.
Yeah.
And I really quite like Sacha Baron Cohen's Time Lord or whatever he is.
Yeah.
He was really good. I really enjoyed him as a character. Like he was reasonably funny.
Yeah. I wasn't really sure when I sort of watched the trailer and I saw he was going to be in it. I was like, okay, because you think comedy with him, he's probably going to be a little bit out there, but he plays quite a subdued character. So it's quite interesting. He's slightly more serious. He's quite good. Quite liked him in this one.
Yeah, he was good, and the Queens were both good, and the younger versions of both the Queens I thought were really good as well.
Yes, yeah, they were really good. Especially again, Helena Bonham Carter. I thought she was really good, especially explaining her past. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, that's what I would say. I'd say that the going back in time and seeing the characters' pasts was more interesting to me than the actual adventure itself. Okay, so we've been Should I Watch It? Please like our video, share it, get us out there, and subscribe as well, and you'll get to see lots more videos. We put a video at least once a week. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
And we hope you've enjoyed the video.